Jessica Frost Ballas here with a video for lawnfawn. Today I'm using the fun Sunburst backdrop die to create a cheerful and encouraging card with the help of some puffy clouds and a cute fox. So let's get started. First, I blended my background panel with Distress Oxide inks in mustard seed, scattered straw, and dried marigold. I start with mustard seed in the center and then blend out to scattered straw. I blend a little dried marigold around the edges for contrast. In retrospect, it would probably be easier to die cut the panel with the Sunburst backdrop die first, and then blend to make sure your darker center was in the correct location, but luckily I had it centered close enough that it worked. I blended back and forth between the three colors until there was a smooth blend. Then I set the panel aside to dry while I worked on the rest of the card. Next, I stamped the fox from Really High Five and the balloon trio from Bicycle Built for You and Me with Copic-friendly jet black ink and colored them with Copic markers. You could also use the single balloons from the Really High Five set or build your own trio by masking and stamping those balloons, but I decided to save a little time and just use the trio. I used toner gray Copic markers for my fox and started by laying down my lightest shade, T2. Then I went in with my darkest shade, T6, and added shadows to the fox. Next, I blended the T6 out with a little T4 and then went back in with T2 to get rid of any harsh lines. I added a little more dark shading with the darker markers and finished with T2 again. This time I made sure not to color the T2 directly over the darker colors so that they wouldn't lighten too much. I used T0 and T2 for the fox's chest, and R0 and R2 for the fox's ear and cheek. Then I colored the balloons in shades of blue-violet. I kept the darker part of the balloon towards the bottom left and the lightest part towards the upper right. Once I was finished coloring, I die cut the images with the coordinating dies. Next, I started to build my scene. First, I die cut the blended background with the Sunburst backdrop die. I love how the sun center is a separate piece that you could use to build a shaker or use with another interactive die set. I adhered the large panel to a top-folding card base and then fit in the center of the sun. Next, I die-cut clouds from white cardstock and vellum with the puffy cloud border and spring showers die sets. I stamped my sentiment from Really High Five onto one of the puffy cloud borders with black ink. Off camera, I die-cut the Scripty hugs from black licorice cardstock 3 times and adhered them together for a thick chipboard-like sentiment. I layered the clouds onto my Sunburst panel and then planned out my scene before I started adhering everything. I used regular adhesive for the clouds and sentiment and foam mounting tape for the balloons and fox. I wanted to add a little sparkle, so I outlined a few of the clouds with crystal glaze and sprinkled them with chunky and prisma glitter. I like using my fingers to sprinkle the glitter around, so it's a little looser and not quite as bunched up as it is when you pour the glitter directly onto the panel. I sprinkle the chunky first, and then fill in the gaps with the prisma. Off camera, I add some accents with a white gel pen and coat the balloons and hug sentiment with the glitter pen for even more sparkle and shimmer. And that's it! I think my little fox is on quite the adventure with his balloons, and I can't wait to see where he ends up. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I'd love for you to give this video a like. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, have an amazing day and happy crafting. Bye!